Hello guys and welcome to today's tropical update. And in this video we're going to be talking about the SSTs in the Atlantic and the Pacific ENSO regions. And not only that, we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm 19P that is affecting Australia right now and could bring damaging winds, flooding, and storm surge to some of the coast on the northern sections of Australia. But with that being said, we're going to be starting off with the SSTs and whatnot. We are here on a cyclonic weather, great website by Alex Worm, and here we go. Here's the ENSO region. As you see, these lighter shades here are really starting to make themselves known at this current time. Some of these SSTs are going and getting into 27, 26 degrees Celsius, which is, obviously, starting to become a little bit lower of an average here, which is, significant because that tells us that this El Nino is decaying, and we should be going into a La Nina base date here in the next, I would say, between June and July, maybe August. We're just gonna have to see how that all pans out. And as you can see here, you can see these blue anomalies here really starting to show up here on the coast of South America, the 1+2 region, +3, and even starting to slowly spill its way into the 3.4 region, which is off the most important part of the ENSO region. So it's going to be interesting to see just how far west it gets with this current easterly wind burst, which still has a few days left before we start to see those final westerly wind bursts come in and erode some of that subsurface warmth that is left in the 3.4 region. So, with that being said, let's look at the NOAA Coral Reef Watch, sea surface temperature anomaly, chart here. And as you see, ever since January 1st, where it peaked out at 2.2, it's been on a steady decline ever since. And right now, we're looking at a value of plus 1.077 with further decreases expected over the next couple of days. And you can just tell that's going to be the case just from just how steep this drop is here. So we're going to see if this gets under +1, before the final westerly wind bursts do show up. All right, let's take a look at the Atlantic side here. And we're going to go to the tropical Atlantic here. And you can see, that's ridiculous, man. Let's just look how warm that anomaly is. Just, off the charts, on any other chart, anyways, that would be off the charts. But some of these areas are 2 to 2.5 degrees above the long-term average, which is absolutely insane to think about. Now, we're on March 15th, right? We have 2.5 months left until the start of the hurricane season, and March, April is the crunch time to see if those unfavorable conditions ever show themselves before it's off to races when it's hurricane season starts, because May is starting to become a month in which tropical cyclone activity starts. Obviously we haven't had a May start since 2021. Obviously last year we had a 01L that formed in January, but that's January. I'm talking specifically in May. We haven't had a May start since 2021. So yeah, that's pretty telling. And you can see just how much warmth is just covering a whole lot of real estate here. And what another telling thing is here, the cool subtropics here. That's pretty much what you want to see in a year like this year. If you want a very active season, you want warm over cold over warm, and that's what we're seeing right now. So we're gonna see if this cool subtropics here can remain on tact. Over the last however many years, the subtropics are, susceptible to warm up, before and during the hurricane season. So we'll see if this keeps up in any way, shape, or form. All right, let us take a look at this right here. This is the model predictions for ENSO, and these are from last month's predictions here. And as you can see, these models are pretty much taking it down below El Nino strength, past the zero line and going right into La Nina here. And April, May, June area right here, that's going to be the most likely outcome of when El Nino is no longer. I expect that to be somewhere between mid-April and the end of April. That oceanically, the ENSO El Nino is going to be complete. It just doesn't have much juice left to survive too much longer than probably that time frame. But as you see here from the green arrow here, this is the average, and it takes it firmly into the La Nina territory here. And as you guys know, Atlantic hurricanes love La Nina. So I know this is said many, many times, right? Tropical cyclones, they hate shear. Tropical cyclones love less shear. So we're going into the loves less shear category here for this season, more than likely. All right. So here is the official NOAA CPC ENSO predictabilities here. And this just came out on Thursday, so this is new. Very new. So, obviously we're still in an El Nino here where it has a 100% chance because we're still like almost right at the plus one, line here. But as we head into March, April, May, that's when the neutral conditions start to rise and the El Nino conditions start to fall. And the next tri-monthly thing here, has an 82% chance of neutral here. And, this neutral line only stays high for 1 month before it starts to drop, and those La Nina chances start to rise. And here where it matters the most, the ASO, August, September, October, you can see that it has about an 82% chance of being a La Nina going into the hurricane season. So, that being said, there's a lot to watch out for between now and say May 15th when the tropical weather outlooks start to see how our season is going to pan out. With that being said, let's take a look at the tropics, the real-time tropics here, because we got a tropical system in the Australian region that is 19P that's going to bring a pretty decent wallop to some of these northern coasts here in Australia. So here we are, Tropical Cyclone 19. It's located at 13.6 south, 137.6 east. And the maximum sustained winds are at 40 knots, but I believe it's somewhere around 50 knots or a little bit higher than that. No, I'll go 50 knots. 50 knots is fair, I believe. All right, so we're going to take a look here. This thing has been moving pretty slowly, so I'm sure some of these regions are already seeing some flooding here. And as people say, turn around, don't drive, or turn around, don't drown, excuse me. You don't want to get your car stuck in flooded roadways, man. If you cannot see the yellow lines on the road, just don't drive on it. It's that simple. So, as you guys can see, there was a microwave pass not long ago where it showed this thing starting to, build its core a little bit. It's probably like a half a core. And I think it's going to continue strengthening here for the next 48 or so hours before it goes inland in Australia. And here's the Joint Typhoon Warning Center advisory that pretty much just came out like an hour and a half ago. And they are predicting an 80-knot landfall. That is 90 miles per hour. So yes, that is going to do some some damage here in some of these places as we head into the next, like I said, 48 hours or so. You know, as you can see right here, there's still some time even after the 80 knot point that it could strengthen just a tiny bit more before it goes inland. So, people in those regions here, uh, near Mornington, islands, west of Mornington Islands, you got to get your stuff ready and prepared right now. 80 knots is not something you want to mess with. I mean, sure, it's not a category 3, category 4, category 5, but even a category 2 can cause some pretty, decent damage if things are not secured and your windows are not boarded up. Small little projectiles just go right into your house. That can cause problems. So, you know, here in the next 12 or so hours, use the rest of the time you have left to prepare for impact. All right, let's take a look at the GFS here, and this was initialized at 12Z. Let's see if the 18Z run is out right now. No, it is not. So we're gonna go with this. So the initialization is 991 millibars. That's 18Z, and I think that's pretty fair. Assumption there from the GFS. Considering what it's doing right now by having like a half a core and whatnot. So as we go out through time, excuse me, you can see it goes down to 989. It's a pretty slow mover here. To that's not a whole lot of real estate in 48 hours or so. GFS has a 969 millibar landfall here, and that's getting up there to a high end category too, if I do say so myself. And that's definitely going to be a headache for a few people there in those regions. All right, let's take a look at total accumulated, rainfall precipitation here, and then they're pretty. You can, that's pretty telling right there for just how slow the system is moving, because that's dumping 300 to 400 millimeters of rain in those locations. And let's take a look at how much that actually is. Let me go get my European back up because I accidentally exited out of it. All right, we have the 12Z run here finally, because the one that I had up was 60. So let's see how much 300 to 400 millimeters to inches. I don't think that's going to help me, but let's go 350 just to go to a middle. Just to give you an idea, that's about 14 inches of rain in some of those locations. So you're definitely going to be seeing some flooding rain in some of those locales. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the European here. This is the 12Z run, and initialized at 996 millibars. That's all right for Euro. Um, I say it's somewhere in between the Euro and GFS with the pressure here. So we're going to go out here. This is 48 hours, and it has the same exact pressure landfall as the GFS here at 969 millibars. So there's some decent agreement from two of the biggest models in this tropical weather world in general. So with that being said, let's take a look at how much rain is going to be falling on the European, and it pretty much shows about the same amount of rain going forward. So this is going to be a dangerous situation for some of these folks up on the northern Australian coast here. So look out, like I said, look out for flash flooding. Probably going to get some storm surge if it decides to uptrend farther than what it is right now. Wind damage is probably going to be an issue. Probably not, extreme wind damage, but there's definitely going to be some damage there. And like I said, just hunker down. Don't drive on flooded roadways. And I think you guys should be okay. Anyways, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll see you again tomorrow when we take another look at 19P here as it gets closer to the Australian coast. Have a good day.